So I'm glad you guys all hopped on tonight. I wasn't sure if a lot of people would, because a lot of people are like, personal development, schmelement. You know what I mean? Like they don't value it. But I think it's so important with any business, any goal, any MLM that you're in, to focus on developing yourself and growing, because there's going to be hard days. There's going to be days when they sell out on Halloween nails and days when you're frustrated, right? But I feel like I've noticed with myself, I've always loved reading self-help books. I've kind of been nerdy like that. But then when I used to do Beachbody, and I started reading religiously, like I started listening to audiobooks, not so much reading books, but listening. And I noticed a big difference in just my attitude, my outlook on things. And then when I would stop, like if I would have a lull, I noticed as well. So I think it's super, super important to listen to audiobooks, that are going to motivate you and inspire you every day, so that you can stay strong and you can continue to grow, because you can only go as far as you grow, So I just think it's so, so important that you do this. And one thing I've noticed, you guys, I'm a huge advocate in confidence, in having like a lot of, in trying to be confident and helping women become more confident. And I have noticed that the women who I've done a little research, like a little survey where I asked women, I said, I want to hear how you would rate your self-esteem. So I want you guys to be thinking how you would rate your self-esteem. And they would give me a number. Maybe it was a 5 or a 6 or 7 or whatever. And I noticed that the women who had the highest numbers were typically women who were killing it in whatever they did. And I think that sometimes we get stuck inside our head. Okay, I'll hit that in a minute. I think we get stuck inside our head sometimes, and it makes us stuck, right? So anyway, I just think this is so, so important, and you're going to hear me talk about it all the friggin' time. So get used to it. Anyway, so I'm really glad you guys hopped on this meeting. And yes, Erin said, elephant in the room, Mary outed you on becoming a PFC. That is true. They asked me to become to be a PFC, and I'm super excited about it. So that's a huge honor. And yeah, I'm super pumped. I just told them yes today. So it's official. But yeah, and hopefully, I don't know if they are going to ask more people in the future. I don't know how you can earn that honor yourself. I would hope so. That would be awesome if we had lots of PFCs on Team Nailed It. But unfortunately, I don't know that information. She just sought me out, and I think it was just based on like my experience and my numbers and things like that. So Rebecca says, what is a PFC? A PFC is a presidential founding candidate. And they just, they're like the leaders in Color Street. And we kind of get all the juicy info from corporate and bring it to you guys and help you reach your goals. So I'm excited because that's one thing I really love, is helping you guys reach your goals, because it's so exciting. It's even more exciting to see some of you guys hitting your goals than it is sometimes for me to hit my goals. So I love that. Anyway, so how this works, this is our very first Color Street PD book club is what I call it. I used to do this with Beachbody, with my team on Beachbody, and I loved it. The first Wednesday of every month, we would talk about personal development books we were reading, and it was fun to hear everyone's nuggets of wisdom and just learn from each other and get ideas for future books to read. So does anyone want to start first and share a current book that they've been reading, or an audiobook they've been listening to? Just share a couple things that have helped you in your life. Any takers? I'm just going to make it super awkward and wait. Where did Erin go? Geez, she's my cousin. She needs to stay on here. Also, wait, okay, while we're waiting for someone to volunteer, did you guys, I didn't catch the beginning. I was at my son's soccer game until like 15 minutes ago. Did you guys catch the beginning of Mary's live video? What was the update on the Halloween nails? Did anyone catch that? Because I did not. Raise your hand if you need me to unmute you if you don't know how. Okay, Terry, I'll unmute you. Kate, wait. There, go ahead.
Great. My house is super noisy because a bunch of people just showed up. So
Okay.
they said the nails are in production right now, and that maybe next Wednesday we will see more.
Okay. All right, cool.
Then back online again.
All right, cool. And yeah, she also, she talked, I'm going to mute you again. She talked also about, they've got some events, some training events coming to you guys, where they're called Taking It to the Streets, and it's a training event coming to different cities in different states. And so those are, they've got some in, I think they have one in Seattle, in Texas, Salt Lake City, where I'm at, and Boise, that's where Cody's at. So anyway, you'll have to rewatch the video to hear, but they said they'll be officially announcing that on Friday, so that's kind of exciting. Okay, so anyone want to share, or do I need to go first? All right, fine, I'll go first, and then maybe that'll get you guys, then you can be brave. Rebecca, she shared this. There's a group called the Color Street Stylists group. If you're not in that group, search for it on Facebook and request to join. That is where Mary sometimes does live videos. Typically, we take that info, you know, from her and share it in the Team Nailed It Facebook group, but I didn't get to it fast enough. Okay, well, I'm going to share the book that I'm reading, and I actually got this book on the way home from the Color Street Conference. So one thing I love is I love to buy a new book when I'm traveling and then read it on the airport, because I don't have any kids and I can like focus, and it's so great. So this one I got is called The One Thing, and it says The Surprisingly Simple Truth Behind Extraordinary Results by Gary Keller. And this book I already love because it just talks about, so the author is the owner of a real estate company, and he noticed that when his company was kind of struggling, he hired a mentor to come and help him improve the company. And the mentor said, Kate, we're going to focus on just one thing, and that is like getting better employees. So that was their main focus, and that made a huge difference in his business. And then he decided to step down as the CEO and just train those people, and that would be his focus. And so he decided to train them, and one thing he said was he would do like a little mentoring call with them, and in the call he noticed that he would say, all right, so you know, we've talked about these things that you're going to work on this month. So what are some of those, you know, what are some of those things you're going to work on? And he said typically people would forget, you know, if they had a big list, even if it was like 3 things, they would kind of forget those things. They would forget it the following month when he would like follow up and say, hey, how did your to-do list go? How did everything go? And they would forget, even if it was just 3 or 2 things. He said, so once he started making it one thing, once he started saying, all right, what's one thing that you're going to focus on, then he said he started seeing results in those employees that he was training. And I thought this was really interesting because I've done mentoring calls with my stylists, and I used to do the same thing where I'm like, okay, here's your to-do list, and it would be like this big old long checklist, right? And typically people would only get a couple of them done. And so I loved the idea of like just having one focus, maybe for the month of September. So how you can apply this to your business is like, all right, September, what's your one focus? So be thinking, what's your one focus this month? Is it going to be Maybe it's, you pick one goal. Maybe it's you want to hit $1,000 in sales. Maybe it's that you want to recruit 2 people this month. Maybe it's you want to become senior stylist. So pick one focus and you put it on a Post-it note and just place that somewhere where you can see it, so that that focus is in your face all month long. You could even, I recommend making it your phone wallpaper, so that every time you look at your phone, like make a little graphic on the Word Swag app, and every time you look at your phone, you're going to see that one word that you're focusing on. And he just talks about how effective it is to focus on just one thing. And he even talked, another way that I think we can apply this to our business he talks about how multitasking is a lie. That's one of his quotes in his book. And I applied this to business in that I think it's really important to have set work hours. I have a lot of people that say, okay, I feel like I'm all over the place. Like I get so distracted. But a lot of people, and I'm only saying this from experience. So I have 4 kids, ages 15 to 5. And it's easy when you have kids to get interrupted, right? So I've run a lot of businesses in the past. And I've had to learn the hard way, because I used to have kids like climbing on my back literally when I was like typing and stuff. And it's just not fun. And you don't get a lot of work done because you're constantly interrupted, and then you're stressed, and then you're yelling at your kids and you can't stay focused. And so I have learned that it's really important to have work hours. And that's hard when you have young kids and stuff. But I had to learn to like wake up early. I used to wake up, sometimes I'll wake up at like 5 a.m. to get stuff done. So you could be part of the 5 o'clock club. Once you get in the habit, it's not too bad. Or you can stay up you can stay up a little later. Maybe you work from 8 to 10 p.m. Or I used to be a nap Nazi, like quiet time. I was hardcore. So I would make my kids, you're going to have quiet time from 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. And you're going to have nap. And so I was hardcore about that. And so I knew, okay, it's 1 o'clock. My kids are all in their rooms. On your mark, get set, go. And when you know you only have like 2 hours of focus, you focus, right? So, or even strategic screen time. When you say, okay, everyone gets screen time at 5 p.m. or whatever, then you have 1 hour to work, right? So those are some ideas. You can also hire a babysitter. Like once, I used to do this, I hired a babysitter that would come once a week. And I knew, and she would come to my house and I would lock myself in my office and I would work. Or you can have your kids have a grandma day or like a daddy day, where your husband takes your kids out or your grandma takes your kids, and then you could focus. So try to figure out creative ways that you can have work hours, because then you can stay focused, and that's huge. Another thing he talks about, how a lot of people talk about like the 80-20 rule, and how a lot of our business comes from like 20% of, like, for example, you probably have like 20% of your customers who order again and again, right? And maybe you have like a handful of people on your team, but maybe only 2 or 3 of them are actually working the business. So it was saying like you focus on that 20%. You focus on those customers that are constantly ordering from you. You focus on those stylists that are working the business. And he even said, narrow it down to even 1. Maybe you focus on 1 customer who always buys from you. Maybe you focus on 1 stylist who is killing it and just, needs your encouragement and your recognition. So anyway, I'm only halfway through the book, but I just love this concept of focusing on one thing. And there's just so many good nuggets in here. I can't even cover them all. So yeah, I really love this book. Again, it's called The One Thing. because I think I think this generation, we get so easily distracted by our phones. So easily, I mean, it's hard. We work our business on Facebook, right? There's been so many times when I hop on Facebook and I'm like, wait, why am I here? What was I doing again? Right? So it's like, if you have your, like, again, maybe even make your to-do list be just one thing. And then once that one thing is done, you toss that Post-it note and you make another one thing so that you can stay focused and it's sitting there on your desk. This was a tip from Marie Forleo, who's a business mentor to lots of people. She said, you make a list, your to-do list should just have one thing on it. And then when it's done, you do the next. And then, and it's just like a Post-it note. So I liked that idea as well, because it is, I think women often make our to-do list like this long. It's like a whole page. And then you look at it and you're like, I'm just going to scroll on Facebook, right? Because you're overwhelmed. So if you have that focus, I think it will help a lot. I know it's helped me, and I'm not saying I'm perfect, but when I do focus and when I do, set my work hours and have that to-do list, then I do awesome. So does anyone else, Erin, have you read any good personal development books lately? As soon as you put something in your mouth. Do you want me to, can I unmute you? Okay. All right, go for it, girl.
Right. I just took a bite of rice. Here's Ruby. Say hi, Ruby.
Hey, Ruby.
Okay, so I'm going to be completely honest. I have had 2 books sitting next to my bed since I joined. Well, since you told me to get them. And I've read like a few pages of each of them. And because I have this one, I don't sleep very well at night. And so I fall asleep every time I read. So I need to get the books on tape. That's what I need to do. Because I could sit and work and listen, or listen in my car. And here's Emma.
Hi, Emma.
My computer's in a weird place because we had it all set up for that live they were supposed to do tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm standing in my kitchen with it's a disaster, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
So I haven't read any personal development books, but
that's okay.
Good intentions.
Yeah, that's right. And I agree. I don't read. It's taken me a while. I mean, the Color Street Conference was middle August, and I'm still not done. I do better with audiobooks. I read a lot more. And because you guys, how many times are women in the car, like carpooling, driving kids to soccer and like all that? That's when I listen, is when I'm in the car. And even if your kids are in the car, put in your headphones or make them listen. It's good for them to listen to personal development too.
Yeah.
So that's probably the best time. Sometimes when I'm cooking, I'll listen. But those are usually the best times to listen. I'm muting you, Erin. Okay, so anyone else? Why? Why would I do that? Okay, anyone else want to share anything they've listened to or read lately? All right, anyone have any books that they are going to read soon, or audiobooks? I highly recommend listening to Audible. We talked about this last night in the new stylist training group. If you call the 1-800 number on Audible and ask if they can give you like a deal that, because you're excited to get started, I'm pretty sure they'll give you like the same deal they gave me, which was I think it was like $7.95 for your first 3 months, which is a killer deal. So I recommend calling them and trying it. Rebecca says, we need a list. Okay, you need a list. Here we go. I would say some of my all-time favorite personal development books are You Are a Badass. It is so, so good. In fact, I bought it from my best friend and mailed it to her on her birthday. And she's so funny. She's like, I'm not going to read this, like, whatever. And then probably like a year later, she messaged me and she was like, all right, why did I not read this sooner? That book was like life-changing. It's such a good confidence booster. It's very empowering and inspiring and motivating. So that one's really good. I will warn you, there it is. Erin has it. Yeah, get the audiobook. And if you're on a budget, you guys, you can sometimes find these books on YouTube too. So search that out. But that one, it does have some F-bombs in there. So that's just a warning. And then yes, that's the other one, 50 Ways to Yay. Super simple read. Like it has, each chapter is like a page or two long, and it just talks about one of the 50 ways to yay. But I really liked it. I listened to it for the second time this summer, and I just think it has so many good, just empowering, confidence boosting words of wisdom. So those two I highly recommend. If you're looking for a good business development book, I recommend Go for No. If you haven't read that one, because it teaches you to basically like get used to people saying no to you and to be okay with it. Because that happens a lot with any direct selling company, any sales that you do. You're going to get people, you know, if you're talking to people about being a stylist or whatever, you're going to get people that are like, no, I'm not interested. And instead of taking it personally, which I think women tend to do especially, you know, we're emotional people. And so it's hard not to take our businesses personally, right? But with this book, with the Go for No book, you learn like, nope, it's good. Like I'm going for more. Like give me more no's, people, because that means you're closer to a yes. So that's a great business development book. Another really good one that is I highly recommend listening to instead of reading is called 10X, the 10X rule. I don't know if any of you read that, but it talks about kind of multiplying all the tasks that are going to get you to your goal by 10. And he's very motivating when he speaks. You just get like super pumped. You're like, all right, let's do this. So that one is very motivating. Highly recommended. And it also just helps you like really like kickstart your goals and reach for the stars. So I love that one. The Go Giver is also really good. That one I love because the focus is on just giving to people, even if they're not your customers, even if they've never bought anything from you, just having like a giving heart and, you know, sharing, helping others and how it will come back to you. So yeah, those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Anyone, Erin says, so since I have you, I keep having stylists back out at the very last minute. Advice on what might be happening. I would personally ask them and be like, hey, what's holding you back? I've done that before where I'm like, hey, what's holding you back? But honestly, here's what I've learned too, because I've worked with a lot of, like with Beachbody, I had a lot of coaches and I don't want to drag anyone. And so I would rather them start when they're ready than start not ready and have to drag them along, right? So I think it's better to just be like, okay, cool. Like you have more of an attitude of like, hey, whenever you're ready, I'm here for you. Then I think they feel less pressure and they'll join when they're ready. That doesn't mean you shouldn't follow up with them, right? So it's important to follow up and just be like, hey, just checking in to see how things are going, you know, see if you're ready to do this, no pressure. Let them know of like the new stylist training groups or whatever. But I think if you have more of a just like carefree, like you can join me or not, it's all good. Then they'll feel that and they'll join when they're ready. So yeah, hopefully that helps, Erin. Any other questions while we're here? Or does anyone else want to share a book they read? It's going to be the Kelly's Book Club show. All right. Any questions then while we're here? Otherwise, I'll just wrap it up. You guys are a quiet crew. That's okay. All right. Well, if you do have any questions, just post them in the Team Nailed It group. And thanks you guys for joining. It really means a lot that you hop on, especially for the PD Book Club. So hopefully you got some inspiration for books to read and share those nuggets of wisdom with us in the Team Nailed It group because we can all learn from those. and then plan next month, 1 month from now, to have a book that you can share about next time, okay? All right. Thanks for joining, you guys. Have a good week. Bye.